What a weekend for Boston sports fans, and what a way to kick off a fresh NBA week. As the NFL gave Patriots fans a rare moment to breathe with a convincing win, and the Red Sox punched their postseason ticket, all eyes are now shifting to what really matters on this Monday, NBA Media Day. That magical moment when the off-season buzz starts to materialize into something real, when players return to the spotlight, when rumors start turning into rotations, and when fan bases collectively lose their minds over practice clips and vague coach speak. And for the Boston Celtics, there's no shortage of intrigue. But let's start with the bombshell that hits Celtics Nation like a ton of bricks. After a quiet offseason for the Golden State Warriors, the team that's never afraid to zig when everyone else zags went out and signed none other than Al Horford. That's right, Big Al is heading to the Bay Area. And if you're a Celtics fan still riding high off banner number 18, this one definitely hits a little different. Unlike his first departure, which felt a bit abrupt and messy when he left for Philadelphia, this exit carries a sense of closure. Horford delivered. He gave everything, helped anchor a championship run, and at this stage of his career, no one's mad at him for chasing one last ride with Steph and the gang. It's a curious move by the Warriors, though, isn't it? A team already brimming with mileage decides to add another vet into the mix. You've already got Draymond, Curry, and now Jimmy Butler in that locker room. And now Al. But there's logic in it, too. Golden State knows it's in win-now mode, and Horford brings instant IQ, defensive versatility, and leadership to a roster that clearly still believes it can squeeze out another title. And let's be real, even if he's playing 20 to 25 minutes a night, in a reduced role, used strategically, not playing back-to-backs, he can still make a serious impact in the playoffs. That kind of experience doesn't grow on trees. Golden State didn't stop there, either. They went on a spree, signing DeAnthony Melton, bringing back Gary Payton too, locking in a couple of second-rounders. They're clearly reshaping that bench depth, and yet, the Jonathan Kuminga situation looms large. His qualifying offer is hanging in limbo. The original 3-year, $25 million offer now seems unlikely given all the money the Warriors just dished out. And it's wild because Kuminga's agent just went on a podcast, and tried to drum up leverage. That's a bold strategy. If your client doesn't get paid after you publicly campaign for him on a media tour, yeah, that's a bad look. Back to Horford, though. The love was pouring in across the league. Drew Holiday shared the farewell message. Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser echoed the respect. Horford's goodbye on Instagram was all class. He thanked the city, the fans, the organization. Called Raising Banner 18 one of the most cherished moments of his career. And it's hard not to get a little emotional about it. 2 separate stints in Boston, 1 ring, and a whole lot of big-time moments in between. And sure, seeing him in a different jersey is going to be weird, but there's no bad blood here. He's not going to Miami or Philly. He's in the West. He's out there chasing a ring with Curry under the California sun. That's a move you respect. Now let's pivot to the part that really got Celtics fans buzzing, the Jason Tatum footage. JT's back on the court, and Celtics Twitter lost its mind. Tatum dropped the YouTube video showing him shooting, moving, working out, nothing groundbreaking on the surface, but enough to ignite a firestorm of speculation. And look, for months the message was cautious. Don't expect Tatum back this year. Let him rehab fully. Don't rush it. And now, there's a glimpse, a spark. And naturally, fans are doing what fans do, dreaming. We even got a quote from Tatum himself via Sports Illustrated that only added fuel to the fire. He said, "I haven't said I'm coming back, and I haven't said I'm not. I need something to work toward. I need a goal to chase. I might not come back this year, but I need to feel like I'm attacking something." That's not a declaration, but it's also not a denial. And that's enough for Celtics fans to start playing the what-if game again. Because if this team can stay afloat, not even dominate, just stay competitive until March, and if Tatum is fully cleared, fully healthy, and fully ready, then suddenly the entire Eastern Conference looks different. And speaking of the East, let's talk about the chaos over there. The conference is wide open, and that's not just a cliche, it's reality. Cleveland is already dealing with injuries to Max Struss and Darius Garland. The Knicks are steady, but unspectacular. Philly? Embiid is questionable for opening night. Paul George might not be ready, and Jared McCain is already out. Milwaukee is a mess. Starting guys like Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. Orlando and Atlanta are unproven. Miami has regressed, losing key players and struggling with consistency. Toronto's got a decent starting five, but a non-existent bench. Brooklyn is rolling out a youth experiment. Washington and Charlotte might as well not exist right now. So when you lay it all out, yeah, there's a world where the Celtics can flirt with a 5th or 6th seed if they stay healthy. And that's the thing. Health is everything. Because the depth just isn't there. Any extended injury to Jaylen Brown, Derek White, even Simons or Pritchard, and this whole thing could unravel fast. But if they dodge that bullet, if they can scrap together enough wins, and if Tatum really is on that comeback path, suddenly, this team has a shot to do something crazy. Tatum won't return unless everything is lined up perfectly. No setbacks in rehab, full medical clearance, the team in playoff position, and, most importantly, no training wheels. If he comes back, it has to be without restrictions. No minute limits, no load management. If that's not realistic, then wait it out. Take the long view. But if the stars align, then look out. And if that wasn't enough to make Celtics fans feel a little crazy, the 6th Man of the Year race just added another layer to the discussion. Odds are starting to float around, and Peyton Pritchard's name has been thrown into the mix. Depending on where you look, he's either the betting favorite or just outside the top tier. That in itself tells you a lot about how he's being perceived heading into this season. But here's the kicker. He might actually start. And if that happens, he's obviously ineligible for 6th man. Same goes for DeAndre Hunter, who some books have high on the list, even though he's likely starting in Cleveland. But you know who is sneaky good value? Anthony Simons. If the Celtics do decide to bring him off the bench, and if they're a top 6 team, then Simons is going to get buckets. He's electric, he can score in bunches, and that kind of production off the bench, on a winning team, is exactly what voters look for. Right now, he's sitting around plus 1,500 on some books. That's the kind of value bet that starts to make sense if you believe in this Celtics core. Of course, there are other names being tossed around. Naz Reid, Jordan Clarkson, even Josh Hart if the Knicks use him in a bench role. But a lot of those guys have question marks. Clarkson might be past his prime. Reid could start. McCain is already hurt. Santi Aldama? Now, that is an interesting sleeper pick with Memphis dealing with a ton of frontcourt injuries. But still, if you think the Celtics are going to surprise people, that they're not tanking, and that Simons really is going to be a microwave scorer off the bench, it's worth watching those odds. Everything feels like it's teetering on a knife's edge for Boston. A healthy season with some chemistry and cohesion could turn into an overachieving story where they sneak into the playoffs and become the team nobody wants to face. But the margin for error is razor thin. One bad injury and it's toast. One setback for Tatum and the dream dies. Now, with all the excitement swirling around Media Day and early preseason chatter, it's impossible to ignore the emotional roller coaster that Celtics fans are riding. Just a few weeks ago, the tone was completely different. Most of the fan base had already mentally checked out, ready to embrace a rebuild year, maybe even quietly root for some lottery luck. There was talk about playing the kids, letting Jaylen Brown take the reins, seeing what Simons and Pritchard could become with full freedom, and just taking the season as it comes. There were jokes about stacking up LS while enjoying concession stand upgrades at TD Garden. It was all very, let's be realistic and patient. But that all changed the second people saw Tatum shooting jumpers and moving well. He'll prep back in. Now, fans are refreshing every training camp update, dissecting every clip, zooming in on how Tatum plants his foot, how he follows through, reading between the lines of every quote. It's not even about overreacting. It's about clinging to the idea that maybe, just maybe, this season isn't lost. Maybe there's more here than we thought. And that hope is dangerous. Because once you start going down that path, it opens the door to all the what-if scenarios. What if Jaylen takes a leap with Tatum sidelined? What if Simons becomes that perfect 6th-man weapon? What if Peyton Pritchard blossoms into a legitimate starting point guard? What if Neemias Queta turns into a real starting center and gives the Celtics interior toughness they desperately need. All of a sudden, what was a throwaway season becomes a possible playoff run. And if that happens, if you're in it come March, how do you not at least consider bringing Tatum back? And here's the twist. Tatum's situation isn't just a basketball question. It's a mental and emotional one, too. He said himself, he needs something to chase. He's not ready to say, I'm out for the year, because he doesn't want to feel like he's just rehabbing for nothing. That mindset matters. When you're rehabbing from a major injury, the mental side is everything. Knowing there's even a small chance of return can keep an athlete focused and driven. It's not just about getting the body right. It's about waking up every day with a purpose. And on top of all that, there's the reality that the East might be the most vulnerable it's been in years. The conference is filled with question marks. Teams that were supposed to be stable are shaky. Rosters that looked deep on paper are already breaking down. And while it's not like the Celtics have some loaded squad ready to dominate, they've got just enough pieces and just enough continuity to surprise people, especially if the younger guys step up. The biggest gamble right now is the front court. With Horford gone and Rob Williams still working his way back from injury, it's wide open. That's why KYRIE is getting so much attention. He's raw, sure, but the upside is there. He's big, physical, active around the rim. If he can give them 20 solid minutes a night, if he can protect the paint and rebound, that's huge, because it lets everyone else slot into their natural roles. It lets Jalen play more freely. It lets Simons be more aggressive. It gives Pritchard that pick-and-roll partner he needs. It creates some kind of defensive backbone. And that leads to another name that keeps coming up, Walker Kessler. Fans are already fantasizing about trade scenarios. And it makes sense. He's young, he's productive, he's on a cheap contract. But if you trade for him, you know you're going to have to pay him. This is the last year of his rookie deal, and he's going to want real money. So the question is, how much would you pay him? Is he a $20 million a year guy? Is he worth tying up long-term cap space for? And more importantly, do you even need to make that move if KYRIE can develop? Maybe the smart play is to wait and see what you already have before making a splash. Then again, this team doesn't have time to waste. If Tatum does come back, and if they're trying to be competitive, they need to know what their identity is. Are they a team trying to build through the youth and set up the next era? Or are they trying to make a sneaky playoff push with their current core while waiting on their superstar to return? Right now, it feels like they're caught somewhere in between. Jaylen Brown has quietly become the emotional center of the team. There's been too much slander around him lately, too much nitpicking. But this is a guy who's fully bought in, who's stepping into a bigger leadership role, who's ready to carry more of the offensive load. And the criticism he gets? Honestly, a lot of it just feels like national fatigue with the Celtics in general. Boston's never been the media darling, and any misstep gets blown out of proportion. But the local fans know what Jalen brings. They've seen him battle through injuries. They've watched him put up 50 when the team needed it most. This is his chance to write a new chapter, and it feels like he's up for it. Then you've got Simons, a wild card in the best way. He's a scoring machine, the kind of player who can drop 20 in a quarter when he gets hot. But he's also going to have to buy into the system, play within structure, defend. If he can do that and still get his buckets, then he's going to be a massive asset off the bench, or even as a closer in certain lineups. His presence gives this team a dynamic it hasn't really had in a while, a true scorer outside of the main duo. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The whispers around the league are growing louder by the day. KYRIE Irving, one of the most electrifying point guards in recent NBA history, is rumored to be heading back to Boston. Fans and insiders alike are buzzing with speculation. And if the rumors are true, the Celtics could be preparing for a seismic shift in the Eastern Conference landscape. Sources close to the organization suggest that Irving's return isn't just a nostalgic homecoming. It's a statement. Known for his dazzling handles, clutch shooting, and undeniable basketball IQ, Irving could be the catalyst Boston needs to reassert itself as a powerhouse. While details remain murky, the chatter in locker rooms, podcasts, and social media circles paint a picture of a reunion that might shake the very foundation of the league. Analysts are already debating what this move could mean. On one hand, the Celtics would gain a dynamic playmaker capable of taking over games in a way few can. On the other, chemistry questions inevitably surface. Irving's previous stint in Boston ended on a complex note, with clashes both on and off the court. Yet, insiders hint that maturity and experience may have reshaped the guard, making him a more grounded and focused presence ready to embrace a leadership role. Fans are practically counting down the minutes, dreaming of highlight reel alley-oops and step-back threes that only KYRIE can deliver. Social media feeds are ablaze with speculation, memes, and a mix of excitement and apprehension. Could this be the move that finally propels Boston back to championship contention? Or is it a high-stakes gamble that might backfire if the stars don't align? One thing is clear, the NBA world is holding its breath. If Kyrie Irving really does lace up for Boston once more, the city skyline won't be the only thing lighting up. The TD Garden could erupt in a frenzy unlike anything fans have seen in years. The Celtics front office, the coaching staff, and of course, the players will have to adapt quickly. But for those who thrive on drama, magic, and sheer talent, this potential reunion promises one thing above all: unforgettable basketball. Whether rumor or reality, the buzz is undeniable. Boston is talking. The league is watching. And somewhere, Kyrie Irving is preparing to remind everyone why he remains one of the game's most mesmerizing forces. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.